Hi yogis, and welcome to our class today. We are going to do a class for hips, quads, and glutes. So for the runners out there, bikers, hikers, I know that these areas get really sore, so let's see if we can loosen them up again or a little bit. Yeah, so you could do this after a hike or a run, or you can do it before to increase flexibility and just to warm up. So coming down to the mat, let's start out in butterfly pose. So in butterfly, we want the bottoms of our feet touching. And you can bring your feet out in front of you quite far out, or you can keep them in for more of a stretch, whatever feels comfortable for you at this time. And then you can take your hands and place them gently on your ankles or your shins, wherever they might reach. And what we're looking for here is just a nice straight spine with crown lifting up to the ceiling. So we don't want a rounded back here. And then we're gonna take 3 nice long breaths just to get settled here on our mat and to come into the space for us to practice yoga here today. So inhaling, filling up your belly, chest, and exhaling, letting everything out. Shoulders drop. Inhaling, filling up again, crown reaching tall. You might even feel yourself moving up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, letting everything go. You might feel your hips growing wider, or I guess I shouldn't say growing wider, but just your knees falling down a little bit more to the ground as you exhale. Let's do one more inhale. And exhale. Good. Then I'm gonna have you grab onto the soles of your feet. Just give the insides of your feet a little rub with your thumbs. This feels really good if you've been hitting the pavement, running, hiking, or just standing all day. Awesome. And then we're going to fold forward. And this time, feel free to round your back. As you come down, your forehead is coming towards the inside of your feet, or wherever you are in the pose, not forcing it, just feeling that opening in the inner thighs and the groin. You can gently place your hands on your feet, and then for more of an opening, you can press your elbows into your knees. Good, 2 breaths here. Feeling those hips and thighs opening. And opening some more. Awesome. And then coming back up, let's straighten out your legs, bring your feet in front of you, and just wiggle your feet back and forth to let go of that. Good. And then you're gonna take your left foot to your right thigh, flexing your right foot. This is going to be an active forward fold, getting into our hamstrings and calves. So inhaling, lifting up, crown of the head lifts up, and spine is nice and tall. And then on the exhale, you can fold over. So for me, because my calves are so tight and my hamstrings are so tight, my hands fall gently on my shin. And your hands might be on your thigh, shin, maybe you can reach your foot. Taking 3 deep breaths here, releasing through the back of the leg. On the inhale, you might get taller. And the exhale, folding forward. Good, in-breath, growing taller. And exhale, folding deeper. Good. So with those 3 breaths, are you a little closer to the floor with your chest than you were when we started? Just take note. And now we're going to switch sides. So bringing the right foot against the left thigh, opening up that knee. You can push your hands behind you just to open up your chest and lengthen your spine. And then, so inhaling, open and lengthen, and then exhaling, forward fold. Good. It might look like a really subtle fold for you, as long as you can feel the back of your left leg lengthening. You want to engage that left foot. And again, as you breathe in, grow taller. And as you exhale, fold forward over that leg, the left leg. 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, coming on up, straightening your legs again, and just kind of wiggling things around to let that go. Awesome. All right, so we're going to come down on our back now and do some pigeon or figure 4. Just getting into our glutes, so we've gotten into our inner thighs, our hamstrings. Now we want to loosen up the glutes. So putting your right ankle over your left knee, and then bringing that whole situation forward to your towards your chest. You can clasp around the back of your leg, the back of your knee, whatever feels good to you, and then just rocking side to side if you like. 2 breaths here. On the inhale, you feel your legs getting closer to your chest. Inhaling. And then on the next exhale, dropping this whole thing to the left. Good. So you want to have your arms out in a T. I forgot to say that. This should get more into your IT band and the right side of your hip. So for an even greater stretch, you can grab your right foot on top of your right foot with your left hand, and then you can push against that and kind of try to get your right hip to the ground. So move your right hip right to the right side in space. Good, 1 deep breath here. And letting that go and coming back into neutral. We're going to do that on the other side. So left ankle over right knee, and then bringing that in towards your chest. Rocking back and forth if you like that, or stillness if you prefer. One side might be tighter than the other. Good. And then inhaling, and on the exhale, bring your hands out in a T, your arms out in a T, and dropping your legs over to the right. Ooh, this side is tight. Wow. All right. Getting settled there. You might want to grab your left top of your foot with your right hand, just to intensify that stretch. Feeling into your left glute, the left side of your leg, IT band. And 1 more breath here. Good, and then bringing that back to neutral. And letting that go, just a few windshield wiper motions with your knees with your legs. Great. And then we're going to, so drop your legs to the left in that windshield wiper motion. And then grab the back of your right foot for a quad stretch. So you might need to scooch that right foot to the right more. So your right leg is pretty much in a straight line with your hip. And you should feel that in the right quad. If you don't, shimmy that right foot closer to the right thigh or the back of the thigh and the butt. Hopefully you're feeling that. I know I am. Breathing into that right quad. Good, and then switching sides. So coming back to neutral first, and then dropping your legs over as if you're doing a windshield wiper. And then you're gonna scoot the left leg back so your knee and your hip are in one line. Good, and then when you start to feel that quad stretch, just enjoy it. And if you don't feel it yet, move your left foot closer to your left glute. And breathing in to your left quad. Maybe the hip flexor is getting some stretch as well. One more big breath here. And then exhaling. Awesome. All right, so coming back to neutral. And then taking your hands and just pushing yourself up to cross-legged. And then coming through to all fours. Awesome. We're gonna go right back into downward dog. Working into the hips and the backs of the legs even more. So in downward dog, tucking your toes and then lifting your hips up to the ceiling, pushing back with your hands. One nice long straight line in your spine. Making sure your shoulders aren't tense. You can bend your legs heavily like I have here. And then pedaling out, reaching one heel to the ground and then the other heel to the ground. Good, feeling that juicy stretch in your calves. Awesome. And then on the next inhale, walking up to the front of the mat, going into a halfway lift, pinching your shoulder blades together, and then exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, sweeping your arms up, coming into mountain pose. Good. Hopefully your quads and your hips and your glutes feel like they've gotten some blood flow to them. And so now we can work on some standing poses. And these will still get into all those areas that I just spoke of, but we'll also work on some strengthening, okay? So inhaling, taking your right knee and bringing it up. Feeling your core engaged at this point. So your hip flexor might be working a little bit, but it's mostly your core. And then taking your right hand to your right knee and opening up to the side. I'm gonna face you. Again, getting into our inner thighs. Okay, so you're going to, actually, let me cue that again, grounding down through the left foot. And then floating the right leg up, the right knee up, making sure your hips are in one straight line, they're parallel, and then opening up, right leg to the right side. Good, we're balancing, we're opening our right hip. Finding your drishti. You might feel like you're wobbling, that's okay. Breathing here. Good, one more breath. And then closing that leg, bringing it to the front and slowly down. Good. You might have felt your left hip and glute engaging in that pose as well, doing some strengthening here. Let's go to the other side. So rooting down through your right foot. Good. Engaging your core and then floating your left knee up now. Making sure when you did that, your hips didn't wobble like this. They're in one straight line as much as possible. So you're probably gonna have to lift up out of your hips. Lift your waist up out of your hips. Awesome. And then taking your left hand to your left knee, opening up that thigh to the left. Ooh, getting wobbly. Good, find your drishti. Breathe. And on your next exhale, bring that knee back into the front and then down. Good. Kind of shaking that out now, wiggling your hips from side to side. Awesome. Coming to the front of your mat, let's take our right foot and bring it to the back of the mat into a lunge. Lunges are one of my favorite things for hips, opening up hips, especially the front of the hips. Good, so settling into this lunge. And then we're going to inhale, lifting our arms up to the sky. And exhale, opening up into warrior two. Good, feeling the stretch in the right and the left groin, hopefully. And then the strength through the legs. Good, so we're gonna do some moving, a little bit of flow here. So on the inhale, we're just gonna be warrior two, and then exhale, exalted warrior. Inhale, warrior two again. You might come down even further into that left leg, and then exhale, side angle pose. Good. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. I'll have you straighten that left leg now. So we're doing a, can't remember the name of this pose. Reverse triangle. Feeling your left side opening up all the way from the toes to the fingertips. Good. Okay, coming back to neutral now. Facing your left toes now to the front, so both toes are faced to the front. We're going to do some goddess squats, getting even further into our inner thighs. So taking the toes and just pointing them out slightly. So for goddess, we have our toes pointed out slightly. And then exhaling, bending the knees so they track over top of the feet, opening up those thighs. So I like to have my hands on my knees because I like to gently push them open a little bit more. Again, we're opening up the inner thighs and strengthening the glutes and the quads. So if you can feel your glutes firing right now, that's a good thing. Okay, let's do some moving, some flowing goddess now. So on the inhale, we're going to reach up, kind of like into a star position. Exhaling, hands to heart, going deeply into goddess. Yes, inhaling, opening up. Look up, exhale, sink deep into the thighs. Inhaling, opening again, whoop. It is a balancing pose. And then exhaling, coming on down. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna stay here for 2 more breaths. Feel free to take your hands to your knees. That's 1. 1 more. Quads are on fire. And release. Oh, straightening your legs, perfect. Good. So just heel toe your feet in a little bit from there. We're gonna take the right leg, as I slap my thigh, right leg, here we go. Planting your left foot down, taking the right leg and floating it up again. Awesome. And then putting your right ankle over your left thigh. So we've already done this lying down, now we're doing it sitting up. Taking your hands to your heart in Anjali Mudra, and then sinking your bum back, feeling that stretch in your right hip. Awesome. Good. Couple breaths here. I'm flexing my right foot so my knee stays protected. Sinking deeper even if you like. And then coming out when you're ready. Letting all of that go, shaking it out. Really like to shake today. And doing that on the other side now. So planting your right foot down, making sure you're stable and secure in that right foot. You feel like it's glued to the ground. Engaging your abs and floating your left knee up. Good, I just saw my hips kind of do this, right? And that's what I was talking about before. We want the hips in one straight line. So adjust your hips, probably bringing your left one down a bit. And then crossing your ankle over your knee and sitting back into chair, pretty much. Ooh, feeling that left, the left glute opening. Flexing your foot to make sure you're protecting your knee. 2 more breaths here. Good, and then coming out of that, oh, I had to get out right away because that right glute was firing really strongly. Good, and then we're going to move to the other side. I haven't forgotten about the other side. So bringing your right foot now to the top of the mat, we're going to lunge. Now I can't remember which one I did first. Yeah, okay. So bringing the left foot back, right knee is in front, coming to a lunge on the other side now. I knew we would get there eventually. Good, and then lifting your hands up to the sky, opening that side body, and then exhale, we coming into warrior 2. Bending deeply through the right knee, and then going with some flow here. So inhaling here, and exhaling, exalted warrior. Inhaling, exhaling, side angle pose. Inhaling, warrior 2. Exhaling. If you want, you can straighten that front leg. I need to give it a break. Exhaling, warrior 2. Inhaling, and then exhaling, side angle. And then coming up into reverse triangle, straightening the leg, front leg, and feeling that right side opening up all the way from the tip of the toes to the tip of the right fingertips. Good. Okay, taking your right toes now, pointing them forward. We're gonna do a forward fold here just to get into a little bit more into the legs. If you've been running, this is gonna feel really good. So hands to hips, and then inhaling, opening up the chest, and exhaling, folding forward. Bring your legs pretty wide. You can have a slight bend in your knees, but don't be afraid to really bring your feet out wide. Good. And then for an increased stretch, I want you to lean gently forward so your weight's more on the tip of your toes. Awesome. And then walking your hands over to the right. And then over to the left. Just feeling into different angles for your hamstrings and inner thighs in this one. Awesome, and then heel toeing your feet in a little bit. We're going to go down into a squat, a yogi squat. So toes are pointed out, bringing your bum down and squatting deeply. If you need a block under you, you can go like that. Good. And then you can push your elbows into your knees just to intensify that opening of the hips. Okay, and breathing here. Trying to make your spine straight and tall. Good, last breath here. Removing your block and then coming down to the ground. And we're back where we started. Awesome. So we are going to do a few more windshield wipers with your legs, just so all that energy doesn't get stuck in your hips. That yogi squat can be pretty intense. It's a really deep stretch on the inner thighs and the hips. Okay, good. So let's roll on down and just do a few more poses before we close up the class. Hopefully your legs and your thighs and everything that you've used, all your muscles that you've used to run, are feeling a little less constricted. So coming down on your back, we're gonna try to get into the IT band a little more here. I know that's one that I always have a really hard time getting into. So straightening your left leg and then bringing your right knee in to your chest. Good. You can do a few ankle rolls here if it feels good. Awesome. There's some cracks going on. And then taking that right knee and bringing it over to the left side. Okay, where it's kind of like a twist, but then you're going to straighten that right leg. And hopefully you'll start to feel this in your back of your hamstring, but also the IT band on the side here. So right hand can come open to the right. You can place your left hand on top of your right thigh just to increase that stretch. All right, good. And then letting go of that, bringing the knee back to the chest, rocking a little side to side. Feeling your hip now at the end of the class as opposed to the beginning of the class. I know mine was really stuck, and it's moving much more freely now. And then bringing in the left knee into the chest, hugging it in, and then twisting it to the right side. Left hand comes out into a T. So it's pretty much just like a twist, but then increasing the stretch into the IT band. You want to straighten the left leg, flex that left foot, definitely bringing the toes towards you. And then hopefully you're feeling this in the IT band and somewhat in your hamstrings as well. Taking the right hand and putting it on top of the right leg just for an increased stretch there. Then when you're ready, you can let that go. Okay, we'll do one final pose, happy baby pose. So taking your insides of your feet, grabbing them with your hands, and bringing your knees into your armpits, or at least trying to get them there. Again, feeling into your hips now at the end of the class as opposed to the beginning. And just taking note of the differences there. Are they moving a little more freely? Is there still a lot of pain and suffering in your hips, hamstrings, quads? If there is, that's totally normal. So rocking side to side in your happy baby. And then after you're done with happy baby, bring your feet gently to the floor, stretching your legs out, hands out beside you, and laying down into Shavasana. Let's take a short Shavasana to close the class and for your body to take in all of the benefits, to absorb all the benefits that just happened. So taking a deep breath in as you're laying on the ground, and then as you let it out, just relax everything, feeling yourself melting into the floor, getting heavy on your mat, feeling into your body. Maybe you feel tingles, maybe you feel pain. Whatever it is, just accept that and thank yourself for all the love you've given yourself today. Doing this class as you are doing to supplement a lot of physical activity is just a great way to keep you free from injury, so you can keep on doing all that physical activity and your muscles don't get so sore that you can't do it anymore. Now just relaxing for another couple breaths. When you're ready, taking a nice deep breath, maybe stretching your hands over your head, giving yourself a nice full body stretch. And then coming onto your side and working your way up into cross-legged pose. We'll take one more deep breath together, filling up our whole body, feeling this all the way down to the tips of your toes. And then letting everything out. Thank you so much for joining me today for this hips, quads, hams, and inner thighs stretch. And I hope to see you for the next one. Namaste.